Okay, my lovelies, this is what we're doing today. We are going to be talking about killing my bird, apparently. Reflections. So we're going to talk about kind of the general rules of reflections on this page, and then I'm going to do 3 sample problems. So, general rules of reflections. Whenever we have a reflection, so here we have we're actually just going to kind of jump into the deep end, and in doing so, we're going to kind of cover everything else. Here we have a quadrilateral, and what we're going to do is we're going to reflect it over that line. Okay, so we know that we're going to end up with A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Again, all that prime means, that little apostrophe at the end, is that something has happened. The point has undergone a transformation from the pre-image, which is right here. This would be a pre-image, to this right here. That'd be the image. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to connect all 4 points: D to D prime, C to C prime, B to B prime, A to A prime. And in doing so, we're also going to look at line R. Line R is what is called the line of reflection. Now, there are certain properties that line R has in relation to those 4 segments. First and foremost, it is perpendicular to all 4. And it is also the bisector of all 4. So R is perpendicular to B prime, is perpendicular to C prime, is perpendicular to A to A prime, and it is perpendicular to D prime. Also, B to X is equal to X to B, meaning that on all of these, it is the perpendicular bisector. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that knowledge to figure out exactly kind of where we go from here, how to find the image of a reflection. Okay, so here's number 7. We're going to look at number 7, and we're going to see, we're asked to reflect Q over the line y equals 1. Now, y equals 1, or x equals 1 rather. X equals 1 is a vertical line. It goes up and down, which means that any line perpendicular to that must be horizontal. Now remember, that line, x equals 1, is going to be the perpendicular bisector of Q to Q prime. So we know that the line connecting Q to Q prime has to be horizontal. So it's got to be going left to right. So it's got to be somewhere along there. And then now we also know that that line x equals, right here, x equals 1, is the bisector of Q to Q prime. So we figure out how far it is from Q to the line. 1, 2, and then we know if that's halfway, we go 1, 2 after it. And that's going to be Q prime right there. So again, our point would be -1, -2. Point over here would be 3, -2. And notice that this portion of the line, Q to the line, is equal to this portion of the segment, Q prime to the line, and that the line x equals 1 is perpendicular, making our line of reflection the perpendicular bisector of the segment connecting the pre-image and the image. Okay, next we have 9 and 12. I'm going to do these both on the same one. So S, we're given as 3, 2, and V, we're given as 1, 1. Now what we're going to do here in 9 and 12 is we're flipping them over axes. And what the important thing to realize is that when we flip something over an axis, that all we're doing is we are changing the sign of the opposite one. So if we flip it over the x-axis, we change the sign of the y. We flip it over the y-axis, we change the sign of the x. So here, let's look at this. So here we have S as being 3, 2. Now we're flipping it over the y-axis, which means that we're going to take it and we're going to put it over there. And how we do that is we look at that 3, and we just change the sign. So we're going to go negative 3, 2. And in doing so, we go over there and we plot that point down. And we note that 3, 2 is 3 to the right of the y-axis, and negative 3, 2 is 3 to the left of the y-axis. So that gives us our reflection right there. So that's going to be S prime. V, we are flipping over the x-axis. So what we're going to do is we are going to count down 1 and then down 1 again, and that gives us our point, V prime at 1, negative 1. Now notice that we start off with 1, 1. So let's just, since we're flipping over the x-axis, we are going to change the sign of the y. So 1, 1 goes to 1, negative 1. Super easy rule there. We went over this in class on Monday, and you should have written it down. And finally, we're going to do 32 or not. Okay, 32, what we're doing is we're starting off with our point 0, 0. And here what we're doing is we are doing a combination of transformations. So we're doing 2 transformations to the same point. Now it's important to understand that these go in sequence, meaning, here I'll just show you. So we're going to start off, and our first line is y equals 3. Right there. That's y equals 3. So we know that y equals 3 is a horizontal line, which means that the reflection is just going to go vertical. So we're going to go up 1, 2, 3. That's halfway. And then we go another 1, 2, 3. So we end up right there. And that is 0, 6. Okay, so if this right here, our original point, is O, then up here, we're going to have O prime. And